Hey everybody, you know what time it is? It is Sipping with Sue time. I am Szu-Moy, and if you are joining us for the first time, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, chatting with real people doing real things extraordinarily. And if you haven't gone over to my YouTube channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell to get all of the latest content as soon as it is uploaded. So happy Saturday, y'all. Happy fall, y'all. It is my favorite time of the year for sure. And today I have the pleasure of chatting with one of my favorite people on the mystery and passion of being an entrepreneur. Yes. So please welcome Stradford Stone. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Cheer. Cheer. He's got water. Really? I know you don't got no water. What's in that water? Because there's a lot of clear alcohol out there. Then people like, hey, I've got water. And it's not water.
My friend said she used to drink alcohol at work. She would put lemons and lime slices in there, and they thought she was being healthy at work.
That's pretty funny. We have a friend also that does the whole smart water bottle thing because smart water bottles are they're not like the bottle you have, which are really
Right.
thin, plasticky. It's pretty thick and so yeah, I guess it masks things pretty well also. So yeah, yeah, the fun things you do when you're older and trying to hide booze.
Trying to maintain
Oh my gosh.
with everything going on. The climate of the world has certainly changed with COVID. Um,
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
and
mean this right here was my passion project for this is my COVID baby right here. I mean, the reason why I started this was because of COVID, because I wanted to touch base with people that couldn't necessarily come see me and I couldn't see them. So
well,
yeah.
I'm glad it happened that way. I mean, I've been in Atlanta for 7 years. And after, like, when I was leaving San Antonio, I mean, moving here, I just told myself I was leaving San Antonio behind me. Like, like I got on Facebook and deleted everybody. But it wasn't San Antonio exclusive. There was a lot of
Hmm.
noise happening on the internet at the time.
Hmm.
Um, and I just kind of I prize myself now on health. Health is really important to me now. That's
Hmm.
changed a
Hmm.
lot. I remember when I was working with you, I was probably at my lowest point as far as health wise.
Well, what did we have again? What did we have? Did we have tacos? I think we did bring in burritos or something for
Oh
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Burritos, chips, like what do you guys want to eat?
You,
Just bringing in all the junk food. We're good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't not have tacos in San Antonio.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, that is true. That is true. So hey, let's get right into it for the folks that are joining us. Can you give us a little background on yourself so that folks can get acquainted with you?
From the south side of Chicago. Yes, the very mean streets.
Woot woot.
I live in Atlanta. I've lived in the South, with the exception of 2 or 3 years, all of my adult life. I went to Fisk University for college. I kind of growing up in Chicago. I kind of swore like 50 Cent has that verse on one of his songs where he said he'd run away and never come back if he could, and
Hmm.
that was how I initially felt about Chicago when I left. And so the South was a completely different ball game for me because I am a city slicker. Like, I'm all things city. So like the music, the hospitality, like it was a culture shock.
Hmm.
And I've never left. I went back home for about 2 or 3 years, and outside of that, I've never left the South. As far as living, I've lived Nashville, Atlanta, of course. This is my second go around in Atlanta.
Hmm.
So I lived in
Hmm.
Atlanta
So
before Stephanie.
gotcha, gotcha. And tell us about your lovely wife, who's amazing.
My wife, I mentioned her name is Stephanie.
Hmm.
COVID changed everything, right? So Stephanie had been on her job 13 years. She was laid off during COVID. She ended up taking another job about a year or two later. And, she took a major she just took a pay cut. She took like almost like an all around demotion, but I mean it was for a new company. Anyway, all that's changed. I've got some projects I'm working on, and I'm excited to tell you guys about. My goal has been to retire at the age of 45 for the past 10 years, and I'm still on track. I just turned 42 August 29th, so I'm still on track for 45.
Woo,
And
that
what
is a
retired
very steep,
means
yeah, very steep
is
goal. Woo.
what retired means is because
Hmm.
I work. I
Yes,
enjoy working. I enjoy working. I enjoy what I do. So it doesn't even feel like work. But
gotcha.
we will be simplifying our life even more simple than it already is, and not requiring
Hmm.
the type of income bracket we actually live in. So many people, they become millionaires. They go buy $1 million house. They go buy, $100,000 car. They
Hmm.
do this. They
Hmm.
do that. We've been keeping a pretty simple lifestyle over the past 3 years, and we saw the benefit of that during COVID, during the pandemic. We saw the benefit of not having these astronomical bills to pay, right?
Hmm.
When everybody was going crazy about where their next meal was coming from. So Stephanie's doing great. I told her when I was getting on here, and she was pretty excited about that. So we gotta hook up again one day. I don't know. She'll be in
I
San Antonio
know.
next week. I'm not.
Yeah, one more shoot with you guys would be amazing. Would be
We gotta do
absolutely
one
phenomenal.
more.
Just
We
one
have to
more
do one.
in the mind of you guys, because you guys do some crazy stuff and awesome things, and just the products that come out of it have been amazing. But you are my number one person again who has done a ton of successful startups. So tell us how did you do it, and how does one get up and running with one idea or maybe multiple ideas, and then bring those ideas to fruition?
That's a great question. And again, thanks for having me.
Of
Like I said, I've
course.
got quite a few things in the fire, quite a few irons in the fire, and so um, I started with my own business. I started in sales right out of college, and I think once you do sales, like for me, I didn't have a problem talking to anybody. But I didn't realize the type of money salespeople actually made until they started seeing it on my pay stub. Like,
Mhm.
oh, we're talking to everybody then, right? So I think for me, sales, having been in sales for a number of years and doing and having done very well for myself, for me, sales catapulted me into taking that leap of faith that everyone's afraid to take when it comes down to operating their own business or and I keep referencing COVID because during COVID so many people learn like, oh, I can sell cupcakes to my neighbors. They like my key lime flavor, or I can sell pillows. So I think everybody got a taste of entrepreneurship during the pandemic and what it really means to have to create a product that you push out the door all on your own. It's all exclusive to you and how you design that process. To answer your question directly, I was setting it up, I was setting the stage. Uh, Most people probably won't believe this, and they probably will think I'm pulling you guys' leg, but failure has been my biggest mechanism to success. When you I see so many people not launch a project because they're trying to have everything perfect, right? Like they want to
Mhm,
have the
mhm.
website's got to look like their competitor who's been in the game for 20 years, right? Their business collateral's got to look like all of this stuff. And realistically, all you need to do is start, right? Start, start.
That's
I
literally
have.
half the battle, right? Half the battle, just start.
It's like going to the gym. Once you get to the gym, like there's only
You're
one thing to
there.
do once you get there, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do a
and
drive-by,
so
you just gotta get in there and do it. Gotcha.
right, Right. And like the gym, I mean, the bottom line is you're going to make mistakes.
Hmm.
And I think people are afraid to make mistakes, or they feel that mistakes will put them out of business. But something I learned probably at the age of 19, somebody shared this with me. He said, in business, 95% of the relationship is actual relationship. Only 5% is business. And that didn't make a whole lot of sense at the time, but when you think about who you do business with, there's a relationship. Even if, for me, when I go to the grocery store, I have a relationship with the seafood guys. I've got a relationship with the produce guys, right? They see me, they want to talk to me. Sometimes they have questions. The last time I was in a grocery store, the produce guy was like, hey, what do you make with this, gosh, it's a root vegetable. The long one. Why am I
Radish,
forgetting?
daikon, what you got? Turnips.
No, I'll come back to it. But anyway, he asked me what do I make with it, and I told him, you treat it
Hmm.
like a starch. You treat it like a potato. A lot of people just add it. It's really popular in the Caribbean and Latino culture. You just treat it like a
Because
potato. I
I was
love.
about to go to sunchoke, but no, that's not it. In the
Um,
Caribbean. Oh, oh, cassava, yuca.
yep. Yeah, yuca.
We know that in the Caribbean. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yes.
Um, so So just saying that to say there's a relationship in anything that we do. We have relationships to things in life that if there does not exist, what can happen? You can develop a physiological response to a product on the shelf, right? Like
Mhm.
somebody might be experiencing PTSD behind, I don't know, something as ridiculous like Maury Povich, right? Like people are terrified of olives, right? Um, and it's
Okay.
usually not the olives themselves, it's usually something surrounding that
Hmm.
there's a trauma, and the olives ain't actually have anything to do with it so much as that's what
Something
they
that's
tie it
back.
to.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly. So exactly. It goes
right,
with that, and then it starts
right,
that
right.
spinning of different things. Hmm.
So for me, success has been a ton of failure. I've been able to reach success because of how much I've failed. And I remember somebody sending me Michael Jordan has a similar. He can name every shot he missed and how many points, and you know what I mean. He remembers that.
Hmm.
That's traumatizing for him. But you like
Hmm.
it's Michael Jordan, right?
Right.
And so the failures are what have catapulted me, right? Like I know what it's like to not be able to pay a bill, or I remember Jonathan, previous business partner. We used to throw parties in Chicago,
Hmm.
and this one party did so well. We never anticipated it not doing well, and one day nobody came, and we had like a $1,500 payroll, and I didn't have that money in my pocket.
Yikes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? And so I had to come up with it. I didn't have to have it that evening, but the point is I failed at doing my job, which is promoting this place, right? And then
Mhm.
that catapulted me into okay, so instead of 5,000 flyers, next week we're ordering 20,000,
Mhm.
right? And I think too in business, many people shy away from doing more. They think
Mhm.
I don't need 20,000 flyers. If you don't need 20,000 flyers, you don't need to go into business
Mhm.
because the objective of a business is to establish a relationship, right, with a customer and offer them something that they utilize as valuable. So when you say, I don't need 20,000 flyers, you're already discounting what you offer to the world. And during the pandemic, I think so many people were just they were surprised to see that they could do so well in business.
Mhm.
So for me, it's been that's the crux of it. It's actually been failure. You and I have shot, and for whatever reason, it wasn't the best shoot, or we like, yeah, we ain't gonna use these.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean that's part of being creative and
Mhm.
experimenting, and and things like that. You can't, if you don't explore the possibilities, you'll never know the length or the width or the
Mhm.
depth of the space.
Yep, and a lot of people you are, like, hitting the nail on the head, it's spot on. So many people have this fear of failure all the time, and, it's really good how you're like, if you're the correlation that you said about the gym, look, just get to the gym, just start. It's the same thing with your business. You have this idea, just start. Just start. Get out there, start, go big. If you fail, learn from those mistakes and then move on. So give us a little bit of, so you've done a party business, you've done your photography business. Give us a couple of businesses, your successful businesses and those ventures that you had over the last couple of years.
So I had a marketing business. I started that in Nashville, and I learned graphic and web design, and um, I ended up leaving Nashville, and I took my clients with me. And when I got to Chicago, I worked for Clear Channel as a client.
Okay.
Um, And then I was a creative director for Chicago Jazz Philharmonic Orchestra. So I've done quite a bit. I've always lived in the creative world until I got to Atlanta, where I picked up my hat as a chef. I've always been able to cook. As a matter of fact, my first sales job was with a banquet facility, and the chef just took me under his wing because he said he never saw anyone that likes to eat as much as me. So.
Oh my goodness, that's
And
awesome.
so Chicago's an amazing place for food, right? Like, I mean, it's arguably probably one of the cornerstones of the world as far as food is concerned.
Mhm.
So I've always had a knack and a thing for food. And when I got to Atlanta, we launched Captain Taco because
Uh-huh.
Stephanie and I both were fiending for breakfast tacos.
'Cause you had left San Antonio and you're like, "Dang, they don't have really good tacos out here. Hmm. So if they don't have something that we love, we're just gonna go ahead and
Do it.
do it ourselves." Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Yeah, why not? Why not? That's
And
awesome.
and it's funny because I had to learn a lot of things in a small amount of time. Behind Captain Taco, I learned to make sausage. There's a place in Hallettsville, Texas, that sells. It used to be the most amazing sausage in the world until I started making sausage.
Oh, there you go.
It's, it just wasn't economical for me to ship food from there to here and then sell it. Um,
Gotcha.
so I learned to make sausage. I perfected smoking brisket. Um, and learning to smoke on an actual smoker, reverse flow, learning your where you exist in that space, right? Like, you don't just smoking is not like grilling. You don't just put a few charcoals in there and
Oh,
then
no, we know. We've got a green egg. We know all about that smoking business. It is a lot of tweaking and
yes,
hand-holding, and you can mess it up very quickly,
really
very quickly.
quickly.
So we've done that. Yeah, been there, done that. My husband is pretty good on that green egg, and so smoking is. But man, when you get it and it's good, it's like, why do you go out to eat? There's no reason for it. It's oh my gosh, it's so good. So yeah.
Well, I can't go out to eat. You can.
Mhm.
I mean, not for smoked food.
Um, uh, yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there are restaurants here that it's funny. They say they sell Texas brisket, and I'm like,
Ugh.
first of all, man, first of all, you're smoking with hickory. Brisket is
Oh.
smoked with mesquite, hands down, no contest. There's nothing to even talk about. Like,
Yeah.
and there's people that smoke it with post oak and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain
Mhm.
said. Anthony Bourdain said, "Jews and Texans. That's who knows how to cook brisket."
Okay.
Um, and I tend to believe him, and I feel like I'm an honorary Texan now since I know how to smoke brisket.
Oh Lord, even though you're like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Want a piece? I'm out. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you have a new venture. Tell us about what you've got brewing.
I've returned to the creative world,
Hmm.
and we're setting up. We've got quite a few irons in the fire, but for me, explicitly, we're launching the Black Design Agency. Black is a very luxurious space to live in. One of the other things that I think about when I think about the color black, I think about space and just like how vast it is and how limitless it is, and so that was a major part in moving into the name,
Hmm.
because the past, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, I've just operated under my name. It's stradfordstone.com. You can
Hmm.
find me there and get some photography or whatever. But I'm actually going back to a full fledged agency. I'll be hiring designers, working with designers, and I've been setting up interviews and discussions with video gurus. So we're gonna be offering everything that businesses need to succeed well, um, for the time span that we live in. Because the flip side of the coin is there are a lot of people starting businesses, and it's hard to weed out who's serious and who's not,
Hmm.
or who has an amazing product and who has one you'd rather stand down on.
Or who can
Um,
you trust? The biggest thing is you talked about relationships earlier. Who can you trust? Who
right.
can you trust in the space to take your project, what you have, and take that to the next level? So yeah,
And
it's a big
so
deal.
with that being said, right, like you and I have a relationship to the point where you wanted something done for your husband. Didn't know if I necessarily did that or not, but hey, can you do this? Yeah.
Mhm.
We got it
Mhm.
done, we got it punched out. But that's what I mean by just having a relationship sometime is enough to uh,
Mhm.
I'm a member of the Greater Atlanta Fist Club, right? Like my alma mater. And we just talked about, putting some things into place that can help catapult their initiatives to bring more people from Atlanta and the people that are coming to, provide funding for the students that are trying to get to Fisk in Nashville. And just talking to the president, Mahogany Ellis, we just one phone call and she's like, you know what, we work with other organizations and they need all of this stuff. So real businesses need marketing collateral, there's no question about that.
Always.
um,
Mhm.
you know a lot of like graphic designers are upset with like the fiverr.coms and anybody that threatens to threatens to lessen the gravity of the skill set, right? And I think that's happened a lot, especially with like the prosumer cameras that are available. And
Mhm.
when I first started shooting, people would say, "Bring your camera. I can get down with iPhone. I mean, whatever I shoot."
That so technology, especially in the last decade, and it's the entire media world has shifted, especially social media, all of that stuff. So you've got user generated content that's just blowing up and going
Right,
out there.
right,
And I feel like I don't think it's necessarily, um, you know, s- people are upset about the fact that other people are going out there and getting at it, because I think that's a good thing, and
Hmm.
creating, because I mean that's an outlet. If nothing else, it may not be a job, but it's definitely an outlet. And if you can make money off of it too, that, win-win. But I feel like some of the platforms like you're mentioning, Fiverr and whatnot, it's just and we've talked about it too, even with the, in the industry of photography and modeling and those spaces as well. For creative spaces, it's the paying part. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? The skill set is here. If I'm a graphic designer and I've been doing graphic design from the get-go and I know it inside and out, and I've got, this skill set, and then you have somebody that comes in and they're, at a much lower level than me, and they're charging, $5 or $10 for this one
Right, right.
project. And then you get into that kind of a battle to where it's the price point is what's, I think, getting people upset. Because if you have a skill set, you know what your worth is. And that's a big part of businesses and just work life balance, all of that in general, is trying to get the value of what you're worth.
Absolutely.
And when you have something like that, I think that's where people get upset. It's like, I'm worth this, but you've just dumbed down the entire bar to this. So
And
now
so
it's
for
so much harder to compete. Do you know what I'm saying? And you said it too. There's a lot of noise out there as
it's a lot
well.
of noise,
So
right?
yeah, yeah,
And so for me, I've
yeah.
I've had a lot of conversation with a lot of creative people, and then I just help them to appreciate, like, my client is not looking for a $5 logo. They're not. My client is not looking for a $5 photo shoot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
My
yeah,
client,
yeah.
right? My client is somewhere going, if there was just like one amazing photographer I could find him and work with him
Hmm.
consistently in Atlanta. That's my client.
Right.
My client is
But
not.
but you know that if people could pay $5 for something, they're gonna be like, "Do I pay $150 for something, or do I pay $5 for something?" It's like when you go to, organic apple or regular apple. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing.
Right.
Why am I buying, organic, I don't even know what it is. What did I buy the other day? And I was talking about it too to somebody. I'm like, if I buy, a $12 package of recycled napkins,
Hmm.
right? It's $12. Or I've got this, like, no frills Walmart brand that costs $2. $12 and $2. What are you gonna buy? Are you gonna buy the $2 one?
It depends.
No, 9 times out of 10, people are gonna buy the $2 one, and then
Well,
they're
are
gonna
you
throw it, and then they're
shopping?
gonna threaten, and then they're gonna throw it away. But my point is that the $12 one, I'm gonna think about every single time I have to use that because I paid $12 for it. So it's a quality, quantity. It's
Right.
all of those things mixed in together. So yeah.
And that's what I was thinking about. I mean, we use pretty expensive laundry detergent, but you literally can put some eyedropper full in there, right? Like, a gallon lasts us like 3 or 4 months.
Right, right,
And so
right,
other people are like, I'm not spending $20 on that, but you bought four ones for $15. You spend
right,
way more money than that. I haven't even
right.
thought about it, right?
But they're like, "I'm getting a deal because it's much cheaper than this brand and da 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 da." And that's the problem we get with businesses going out there, I think also, and trying to get with a freelancer or an entrepreneur or somebody with a startup. And they're like, "I want something for nothing." That's like the mindset. I don't know.
You know, I tell people all the time, I could stay home in the bed and not make any money.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't need to go to work to not make any money. Like, that's not. I'm not interested in that.
Right.
I've had people say, "Hey, I need a favor," and I open up with, "Before you say what you need, I want you to realize one thing. I don't like to work for money. I really don't like to work for free. Like,
True.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, you have that. Yes, yes, yes. It's gonna be a freaking logo. Make that a bumper sticker.
we can make it a T-shirt. We can make it a T-shirt."
What? What? Yes, we can. We can.
So,
Absolutely.
so the Black Design Agency is going to be focusing on merchandise. Merchandise is like they're projecting in the next 10 years it's going to be like a $300 trillion a year industry. Right now, merchandising alone, and I'm talking like hats, pins,
Mhm.
any swag. People love swag too. I don't know why. Like I'm the
Mhm.
guy at the conference, like, yeah, no, y'all can keep that. And they're like, no, it's for you. And I'm like, I don't want your bag full of junk.
Oh, wow. No, people go to conference just for the swag,
And that's what
like,
I'm
just for
saying.
the swag. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You have people that love swag. It's a big deal,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
God forbid you give them a t-shirt that fits. Because some people just want a shirt. I mean, they got a triple X and they can wear like a small.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, it's pajamas. We're good.
So we're branching into printing. The beauty of what we do is we can print low numbers for
Mhm.
businesses, small businesses. They might need 10 shirts. I mean,
Mhm.
normally on a screen printing situation, if you just did 10 shirts with one color, I mean, you're gonna be looking at like $200-300.
Mhm.
Um, $20 a shirt, $20-30 a shirt. We can land a lot more inexpensive than that. And there, with technology, there are new processes that I like better than screen printing. Screen printing, everybody thinks is the pinnacle of the mountain, but I think anything creative or anything decorative is going to be up for discussion. Like I can't say this process is better, right? Like you may
Mhm.
like, for instance, like with screen printing, and eventually the ink cracks on the shirt. Some people hate that. Some
Mhm.
people love it to the point where they sell shirts with the ink already cracked for you. It looks
Yes.
like it's old.
Yep.
I don't want to buy anything that is not new, right?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So that's always relative, but we're introducing apparel. We're focusing obviously on the graphic and web design, and then the photography and the video. Video can be anything from an IG commercial to a 2B commercial or whatever
Mhm.
commercial you would like to film. And the website is not live, but people can go. The phone number is available if they want to call. We can always send some stuff, or if their project is urgent. But we should have the site up in the next 2 weeks, offering the
Awesome.
services. Just quite a few client case studies we got to wrap up.
Good. Well, awesome. We're excited. That's just, yeah, definitely exciting to have like that one-stop shop and cover all the bases and be able to have highly skilled folks at your disposal to go ahead and make sure that the client is happy and all their needs are met. So, what kind of advice would you give to folks just trying to bring their idea forward to a full functioning business?
uh, I always recommend that people start with research. It is important to do things, but what you don't want to do is jump out there with a product that people are going to rip apart right off the top.
Hmm.
Um, and so a lot of people feel like that's a delicate balance. You telling me to jump out there, jump out the plane in one breath, but at the same breath, you're telling me, but look down before you jump, right? And I think there is a healthy balance to it, right? Like you do have to go for your goals. There's no way you're going to walk into. I mean, Bezos didn't walk into Amazon being what it is today. The guy started with stuff that nobody wanted in his garage. Michael
Hmm.
Dell and his buddy was building computers out of their garage, right? Like, nope. Those are parts. Those are pieces of people's story that a lot of people don't realize or even understand, or they just don't know it. But
Hmm.
it's okay to start, but take it seriously, right? Like make yourself. Obviously I have a an agency that offers marketing services. If you're not local to Atlanta, that's fine. We can still take you on. However, even if you don't go with us, go with someone, right? And I talked about Fiverr. I want to be fair. I want to be fair because what I didn't get to about Fiverr is the practicality, right?
Mhm.
I actually pay for a Canva account. Number one, I can see things that clients see. They're like, hey, I was doing this quick flyer and I can't get this thing.
Mhm.
I help them. I mean, But number two, sometimes it's easier to go on Canva. They got a great idea, change the words out. Now, I wouldn't send that. I would never use that for anything like a major marketing campaign or something that someone paid me to do. But if I did, for instance, we have a client dinner coming up, a dinner with the captain. And those invitations were created with Canva. I mean, there was no need to pull out the big guns because
Canva is amazing. Canva is amazing, hands down. I freaking love Canva. Canva's awesome. Illustrator's great. You've got all these tools. I mean, I use a mixture of all of them
right,
to push out things. So I mean, and it's just when you're looking at something visually and artistically, I may not find it in certain areas, so I pull it from
right,
somewhere else. It's literally a mixture of a bunch of stuff,
right,
and then I go from there just because that's what you do. So
right,
I
right.
won't knock it. And Fiverr is, I mean, I found one of a phenomenal videographer that started off of Fiverr, who's now doing amazing,
Hmm.
local here to San Antonio, and I loved what they've been doing. We got them off of Fiverr. So
Well,
it's
again,
not, I
there
mean,
is,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure, for sure. There, but again, I think it's that fine balance, like you said. There's give and take with everything. Um, but I do feel that you know, you're right. You got to start, but do your research. I think that's super important. Like you're starting this new venture, but one of the things that you said is like in the next 10 years, we are looking at this
right,
industry being this much, and
right.
that's why we're fine tuning it now.
Hmm.
And so those elements are super duper important. I think also when you're starting, start research
If I can
for
add one
sure.
more thing to the list, I would tell anybody to be a numbers person,
Hmm.
because numbers matter in business, nothing else.
Hmm. Hmm.
like like the relationship exists to put numbers on the board, right? So you need to record those numbers. I mean, even professional athletes, professional teams hire, mathematicians and they come up with statistics and just all types of amazing numbers that they can calculate the probability of a coach doing this particular call or play.
Hmm.
Um, or what do they do in this situation when you apply the defense? You know what I mean? Like they know,
Hmm.
they have an idea of how a person would respond. And I say be a numbers person because numbers are king, right?
Data is king. Yes, yes, I agree.
And I talked to Square. I wanted to know why I was paying such an exorbitant processing fee. They didn't have an answer. Guess what they did? They
Hmm.
brought it down. Now, somebody may say, man, you got them to take off a nickel per transaction. Well, I don't know about you, but a million transactions at a nickel, we'd be doing all right for ourselves.
Thank you. Yeah,
Right?
for
So
sure,
be
for
a
sure.
numbers person early on. Certain things cost money. I remind my wife all the time that it takes money to make money.
Hmm.
Um, we never complain when our businesses thrive. We're so excited. We're making some money.
Hmm.
Um, but we have to know what those numbers mean because you may just be on the up and up right now, right? So for me, as having been in the marketing world, I can pretty much tell you after Thanksgiving, I'm chilling until February.
Hmm.
I'm usually just floating around. I mean, you get some one-off stuff, but all your businesses go to sleep. I know that. So I'm going to put up enough money so that I can survive that period.
Hmm.
And that's something that everybody can't walk into. I mean, I've done marketing for almost 20 years now. Everybody that won't always walk into um, their particular field knowing that. Reach out to fellow creatives or whatever it is you do. Talk to them. I promise you, It sounds ridiculous. I've gotten on the phone with some amazing people just because I made a phone call.
Mhm.
They're like, who is this guy calling me? Well, you say you guys want to ask me some questions, and then I ask questions. There's a lady who was the food editor for, I believe, Essence magazine,
Mhm.
and she did a piece on sausage making about a company in Chicago, a black-owned sausage making company. They've been around since like the 20s, right? Like since before the Depression, and I called. She didn't answer. I left a message. I said, hey, my name is Stradford Stone. I'd like to speak with you about the article that you wrote. Boom, boom,
Mhm.
boom. She called me back. I talked to her for 2 hours. So, and I learned a lot. So don't be afraid to reach out to peers. And I think you may have realized this, but in the photography world, like peers are everything because you cannot physically shoot everything. So
Mhm.
sometimes you'll be double booked and you'll have to say, hey, can you cover this for me? That
Mhm.
type of thing. And yeah, I mean, in business, you give away some customers.
I think it's collaboration. I think it's good. I think it's all
Right,
goodness. Because again, when you do that, and we've had situations too, it's like, hey, I'd like this photographer or whatnot, and they're like, well, you know, I can't be there for that, but I recommend this person. And then you
right.
go with that. And what comes around goes around. And so when you send
Hmm.
out goodness, goodness will come back. It's just one of those things. It's just the right thing to do. Because yes, you cannot do everything. So grateful and so thankful to be able to chat with you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add?
Um, what's your favorite shoot that we've done? You've got on my questions
Um,
that I got over. What hardest photography shoot I've ever had to create? So my question to you is, what's the favorite
yeah, but
shoot
I'm
that
not that.
we've done?
Yeah, but so okay. So we didn't get to that yet because we're about to because we're closing out.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the favorite shoot that I did with you was definitely the first shoot. I
Which
mean
one
I
was that?
loved the
I don't
the
even
first
know.
shoot, the fur. It was
Oh,
a
the fur. I
thousand
thought you said the
a
first one. I was
fur
like, what?
fur. Yeah, the fur shoot. I know
Oh
because
my
we have so
god.
many.
It
Yeah,
was so
that's
hot.
probably yeah. And you're like, we're doing a fur shoot for a winter edition of a magazine, and I'm like, do you know it's 1,000 degrees in San Antonio? Do you look, the poor makeup person, I forget who it was that was doing it at that time, was like, like every 2 bells, "Okay, pose, wait, stop."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
like
yeah,
every 2
yeah,
seconds trying to
yeah.
like make sure that like the everything didn't come pouring down my face. But
And
the
we ended up
image
shooting in a different location than I originally scoped.
yeah, we went to one of the graffitied back walls
Right.
in downtown that was stunning, and it's still one of my favorite pictures to date. I have multiple favorite pictures or photos from you
Okay.
for
Okay.
sure, but that was one that just it stood out. I looked different. I looked because when as a model, when you're looking at your photograph and you see yourself and you're like, ah, whatever. When there's that picture that you're like, that doesn't even look like me. That's wow, what an image. Like it just that didn't look like me, but it looked like an amazing image. So I thought that
Yeah.
was really great. I love the Asian shoot. I love the red dress shoot. There was so many, but that still was one of my favorite ones just because it took so much to get that one single image.
Hey,
So yeah,
that was an amazing shoot, and
yes.
it's funny you mentioned, people see an amazing image and they assume that,
It was like this.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like
Nah, man.
we worked. Everybody worked for that image. We worked. That was
Yeah.
work. That wasn't
Yeah.
like,
The hairdresser, I mean, she was amazing. She took all this freaking hair and put it in this crazy thing.
oh yeah,
And
yeah, 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 yeah.
Luba had this long hair, and to have her hair like this crazy crimped afro thing that was going on. I mean, that was hours of time with the hair and makeup folks,
I
hours
just
and
opened
hours,
it.
and
I'm
then
opening this shoot because I now I got to
we'll make
revisit
sure,
it.
well, yeah, we'll make sure that in the feed we'll put all of these images back in there, and definitely your information for sure on the new agency that you're setting up. There's in the next couple of weeks, people will want to check that out for sure. So I'm going
Hmm.
to go ahead and wrap up.
Okay,
You asked me a question, so we're going to do before I let my guests leave. I like to do a just for fun speed round. This is what you were talking about. So you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. What is your all-time favorite junk food meal? Because we know you're a health buff now.
For me, that's a close tie. Can I tell you what the tie is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go for it. I mean,
It's
I like donuts and cupcakes. I mean, it's yeah, we're good.
yeah, that's gonna be a close tie from a like a Chicago, like a South Pokey
Okay.
or Church's Chicken.
Sure. Ugh. You and my husband. Ugh, gross.
I
Okay,
love it. Just chicken.
hardest photography shoot you've ever had to create.
I think the hardest one we shot at Pedernales Falls. We went
Oh.
out. Don Hopkins and I did a dual shoot that day with the same models. I
Hmm.
think we had like 8 of them. That was a 1 mile, I think a mile and a half hike down into the canyon.
Hmm.
So we had like just friends like, hey, can you come work this photo shoot? And they like, I don't know about working a photo shoot. And it's like, yeah, we just need you to carry something actually. Can you do that?
We need some volunteer grips. Thank you.
Right. So that was the hardest one for sure.
That's awesome. All right. So if you weren't doing your agency, what would you be doing?
Probably still be selling food.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I love the culinary world. But it's just in a weird space right now with the money and there's a labor shortage. I don't know where all these people are, but they're not at work. So you're having to work like 2 or 3 times as hard because nobody's there
Gotcha.
and the money's good, but I mean you can't run an engine top speed every time you drive it.
Sure.
So that just leads to burnout and fatigue and all the rest of the things that have been plaguing the culinary world for years, long before I was thought of.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. So last question. You just won the lotto. What is the first thing that you buy?
Ferrari.
Oh, okay. Woo,
Yeah,
woo.
like a crazy
Like no
color
question.
too. Like
That was like, choo, look, Ferrari, done.
yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Hey,
Thank you
hey,
so much. Thank you so much.
I want to tell you this one thing.
Hmm.
I always joke with my wife. I say when you get the phone call to ditch your
Uh-huh.
phone and meet me at the in Miami at the airport, just know there'll be twin Ferraris on the runway when you touch down.
Nice, nice. Well, tell Stephanie we said hello. We missed you guys. And again, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you again, Strat. It's been a hot minute. So thank you so much. And for everybody else, we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.